genre.
Welcome back to The Doctor's Companion presents Doctor Who The Long Way Round, the weekly podcast where we review and discuss every episode of Doctor Who, one doctor at a time. I'm Cass Fredrickson.
I'm Nick Jimenez.
And I'm Scott Corelli.
And today on the show we'll be discussing the two-parter, The Impossible Planet and The Satan Pit, the 10th Doctor's 8th story.
Mm-hmm. So this is, this originally aired June 3rd and June 10th of 2006 and was written by Matt Jones and directed by James Strong.
Ooh.
So this came about because one of the criticisms of season 1 of the show was that the show never went to an alien planet. If it went to space, it was on a space station, and if it went to a planet, the planet was Earth. And you know, the reason for that was just budgetary and the fact that it was really important to RTD that that viewers connected to the show on a human level before he started introducing like wacky alien planets and things like that. Plus, he was worried that the budget of the show would require the alien planet to look lame.
Mm-hmm.
So he put that off. But then with this new season, he decided to try and,
slowly kind of broaden the horizon a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. This was also, the concept of this story also came about because Phil Collinson, Davies' producer, had observed that the Doctor hadn't faced any enemies that were godlike in scale. And so when he thought of godlike enemies, he immediately thought of the Devil and the John Carpenter film Prince of Darkness, and decided to use that as a starting point.
Wait, have you seen Prince of Darkness?
I have not. It's on my list.
Because if you're telling me there is a John Carpenter movie where something like this happens,
yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah, same. It's on my list. It's one of those movies that is not reviewed particularly well at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then now film Twitter goes absolutely apeshit bananas for it.
Halloween 3.
Yeah. It's that kind of movie where people hated it at the time, but now, you know,
the
30 years
the people
later.
Who saw it when they were 8 or 20 now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, they're older than that.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so like, you know, all these millennial film Twitter people,
horror cult.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, they go apeshit for it. So I definitely want to see it. Anyway, in any event, the writer assigned to this episode was Matthew Jones. Jones was a longtime fan of Doctor Who. He had actually penned a 1996 Doctor Who The New Adventures novel called Bad Therapy for Virgin Publishing. And he had a writing career on television, having scripts produced on Coronation Street and Love in the 21st Century. He had also been a script editor on the Davies created Queer as Folk, and later had done some script editing work on a show called POW, which he created, as well as the British version of Shameless. So all of that being said, originally when it was given to Jones, Russell T Davies was like, here's the concept. I want it to be called The Satan Pit. It's going to be 2-parters. And the planet that they were trying to land on, the planet that was just outside of a black hole, was going to literally be called Hell. That was going to be the name of the planet. So So he took over as writer. Originally, the concept of this was that they were going to have, this slave race this whole time, right? The slave race that was secretly working with the Beast character. But originally, Jones wanted the Slitheen to be this race of aliens. And the reason for that is he thought that, like, by the time this story happens in the history of the universe, humans had enslaved the Slitheen, and their deal with Satan, or the Beast, was to get out of their human enslavement. And so they, like, worked out a deal with the Beast to kill the humans and get out of their enslavement. And the idea was that he was just wanting to sort of add to the history of these characters that we met last season. And it was actually Davies who thought that the presence of a returning monster would actually distract from the story that he felt was the strongest part of this, which was this crew going out and exploring the universe, and all of the devil stuff. Mm-hmm. So he decided that the farting aliens were probably an inappropriate choice for this particular story. But it's an interesting what if. Like, it's an interesting what if, because they never say that the Slitheen would have been in human suits at any time during this. They might have just been full-blown Slitheen the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
What are the ones that have been under the ground and used to roll the earth before we were around, and they're scaly and dinosaurs?
Oh, that is
Silurians.
Silurians.
That's what I thought you meant at first.
Nope. No, that would have made more sense, I feel like, actually. But Slitheen is
the ones that walked around and farted.
Yeah, like that stole fat people human suits.
Yeah, that would have compromised the
Yeah, that would have compromised everything. Yeah, the whole thing.
It's not a silly episode.
Yeah, so they get so in the future, according to Matt Jones, in the future the Slitheen would have been enslaved by humanity.
I don't like the idea of us doing that. Period.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, they try to wash it away by being like they like it. In this, but
we'll talk about it for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, so then the only other interesting bit of behind the scenes details, because a lot of this is just like they filmed at this point, blah blah blah. I should say there's two more things. So one, the director of this is James Strong. So originally this story was meant to be placed in the third recording block, which would have belonged to director Euros Lyn. The way that this show was shot was that they had 5 recording blocks and 5 directors. And in each of those recording blocks, that director would direct every episode in a recording block and then move on to post, right? And then another director would come in, do the next recording block, so on and so forth. Now, the recording blocks weren't necessarily in order of their air date. It was more of just like, what resources do we have right now that
Logistics.
We can do? Yeah, what cast members are available right now, things like that. And so the way that this was scheduled originally, Euros Lyn was going to direct this 2-parter. Okay, so I'll get to the reasons why he didn't in a second. But he was meant to direct this. Now, Euros Lyn is a director that we talk about a lot on this show. Mm-hmm. And his whole thing as a director is he is a director that is entirely dependent on the scripts that he's given.
Yes.
And his episodes that have great scripts are absolutely phenomenal episodes, like all-timers. And the ones where he has a bad script, they're some of the worst episodes of the series, right?
Yeah.
So he was going to direct this episode, and I think about that a lot. I thought about that a lot while watching it just now, about how much better this episode could have even been from where it is now, which I have my whole thing about that late in a little while.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just thinking about like how much better,
right,
than it already is that it would have been had he directed it, because he's so script dependent as a director, mm-hmm. right?
I don't want to drag this. Can you, off the top of your head, can you think of a scary episode that Euros Lyn has directed?
Let's find out. Let's see. Doctor Who, Euros Lyn. Let's see what his whole filmography is. So Unquiet Dead,
Okay.
End of the World.
Okay.
Let's see. I guess there's scary stuff in Silence in the Library, Force of the Dead.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, wow.
That's the thing. He
yeah, it's an all-timer.
That's an all-timer, right? Exactly. When the script is good, it's an all-timer. He directed Girl in the Fireplace and Silence in the Library, Force of the Dead. I mean, crazy great episodes. So, okay, so he doesn't end up getting to direct this because they can't figure out what the Beast is going to look like. So originally, RTD wants literally the devil, right? But the problem was, because this was going to be shot closer to the end, the end of the third recording block, they were afraid that they wouldn't have the budget to do a full-blown devil. And so they were like, well, maybe we could do like an old man, or maybe we could do an eye, like, Sauron, or we could do a little girl. That was Russell T Davies' favorite, and that was because he had become a huge fan of the series Angel, and one of the Wolfram and Hart heads.
Oh, right.
Is a little girl, and he thought that was the coolest shit ever.
Oh my God.
And it was like,
so
what
funny.
if the devil... Yeah, what if the devil was a little girl? And then I was just thinking, like, it was like Russell T Davies, a massive fan of the television series Angel, and I was like, well, that explains Torchwood. That explains everything about why Torchwood exists.
Uh-huh.
But all that being said, they eventually got to like move some stuff around. Like, eventually Russell T Davies was like, okay, I really think that this works best if it's literally the devil, because of the Beast separated from the voice and all that. We would have to do a lot of rewrites to make this work if it's just like a little girl snarling at the doctor. Like, that sucks. Right? So he was just like, okay, no. We gotta do the devil. I'm gonna find the money, but it's gonna take a while. So we're gonna push this to the fourth recording block. And instead, Euros Lyn, I know you signed up for the third recording block. So we're going to give you two great stories. They're called Fear Her and The Idiot's Lantern. So Euros Lyn went from getting to direct these two episodes to directing two of the worst episodes of the season, which is really just the most unfortunate scheduling thing I think I've ever heard.
There are parts of Idiot's Lantern that are fun. That's the one where they go to the 50s, right?
Yeah.
Coronation.
Yeah. We just rewatched that, and I really hated it. I don't know. I don't remember what you thought. I don't remember
what I thought.
I don't remember you particularly liking it, though, if I remember correctly. I don't know.
We'll talk. It actually leads into my broader kind of what I thought about watching this episode, really.
Yeah. So the three there. So the fourth recording block, I believe, was Tooth and Claw, The Girl in the Fireplace, Idiot's Lantern, and Fear Her. He was always going to direct Tooth and Claw and The Girl in the Fireplace, and then he was going to direct this two-parter, and then ended up getting Idiot's Lantern and Fear Her, which that's the other part of this is, like, in a recording block, it's typically 3 episodes, or 3 stories, so that it's like 2 episodes and a two-parter, or 3 episodes. And he ended up having to direct 4 episodes, 4 completely different episodes. Jeez. Which is, that's a lot. That's a lot to task a single director with, for sure.
Commendable work.
Yeah, for sure. So, although each episode, maybe not. I don't know what order he directed these in, but it's
sure.
Yeah,
mixed bag.
Anyway, poor Euros Lyn is what I'm saying. So, this was given to. Ended up giving to the person who ended up directing it, which is once again James Strong. And James Strong, I don't know what else episode. I don't know if he directed any other episodes this season. I'm gonna check that out as well, just to double check, because the place where I get my notes doesn't say. let's see. James Strong. Nope, that's it. Just these 2 episodes.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. So he directs more later on in the series, but nothing this season.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So nothing like these were the only 2
I thought
stories.
This was okay.
Yeah, these were the only 2 stories in this recording block. So recording block, we got moved to recording block 4. Then during recording block 4, they were also simultaneously filming recording block 5, which only consisted of Love and Monsters. So Love and Monsters and Impossible Planet Satan Pit were being recorded simultaneously. They were the last 2 stories being filmed in this season. And then during the production of this story, Love and Monsters began production and ended production before this one was over. Which meant that the last time that Billie Piper played Rose as a principal character was the end of, the Satan Pit.
Oh, wow.
So this is technically Rose's last story in terms of Billie Piper. Billie Piper, this was the last thing that she ever did as a companion because, she comes back later, but I don't know that you would call her a companion. It's like an ex-companion.
Mm-hmm.
So the Rose era.
Yeah. So the Rose era ends actually here for Billie Piper, which I think is kind of interesting. I don't know, interesting way to go out on.
We'll talk about I think this is that was a great scene and a great performance for Rose.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that's all she wrote. That's all I got for this one. Everything else is just where they recorded stuff. Oh, one little bit of trivia is that the actual Satan Pit, the Impossible Planet, it is filmed on location at a rock quarry.
Great.
Bless.
And it is the first time in the new series that they had done that. Wouldn't be the last, but it was the first time in this new series that they had actually filmed in a rock quarry. So great. Yep.
That's so cozy. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's that. Not nothing too crazy, but there's some interesting stuff. So I don't know when I want to get into
The overall thoughts or what happened?
Yeah, overall thoughts. I want to start with you guys because I've talked a lot about my background and stuff, or the background of the episode. So, Cass, overall thoughts?
I mean, it's been a really long time since I've watched this. I know that prior to us rewatching it for this time, I think both me and Nick like it a lot better than you. This still rules. I really like this one. I'm not a fan of the CGI, but everything else is really, really good. I had a lot of fun revisiting this one. It's kind of funny, like watching it in the middle of this like satanic panic happening right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna make a joke. That could be another option when he finds Satan. Is this just the call me by your name, Satan?
Oh boy, Nick.
Oh no. Was there anything else you wanted to say, Cass?
I don't think so. I mean, like we'll get into the discussion of it, but yeah. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, like this rips. I have so much fun watching these two. I just love the atmosphere. I love the Doctor encountering cosmic horror. There's just something inherently really creepy about the mixture of like the ancient and like the far future that just really delights me. And like Cass says, is really cozy. And, I kind of have had a revelation. Now that the show's on HBO Max, I can like go through and there are and Scott knows this talking to me and Cass knows this, listeners, I love Doctor Who, but something that I have to accept about Doctor Who is that there's just chunks of it that just go right out of my head. That I just don't remember. I was going through I have no idea what the hell Under the Lake is about or the Crimson Horror.
I could not tell you what either of those episodes are about either.
Yeah. Oh man, I remember both of them.
There's there's episodes that we record where I'm like, Scott's like, Nick, you talked about you've watched Robot. You've seen Key of Marinus. And I'm like, I believe you. I have no memory of it. but I remember the crap out of Satan Pit and Impossible Planet.
Yeah.
The performances. So there are so many episodes like this where the Doctor and the companion find a space, like it's Alien, you know, but this crew and these characters are so cool. And like, I love their big chunky comm bracelets. And I love the quiet moments that the episode has where the Doctor's like, hey, what kind of person are you? And like, you really care about these characters. And like, they're so disposable in the way that all, you know, like the show is. But I don't know, when I think about all of the Chris Chibnall episodes that have so much death and murder and killing, and like how much humanity each of these characters have and the weight of each of their losses felt. And like, yeah, this is just, and like the Ood are so gorgeous. Like, I don't know, maybe your TV's just really good, Scott, but like, God, just seeing they're blinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a lot of fun watching these two, and I was appreciating like I think there's a lot of good writing in here too that we can talk about.
So I've always hated this episode, and the reason is because I don't think Satan or any religious stuff has any place in Doctor Who. I don't like it. I still don't like the choice of it being literal Satan, like with the horns.
Well, when you mean literal, see, when I hear literal or Satan, I mean like the morning star that Christ struck down into hell. I don't think he's that. Like, I don't think he's like literal Christian devil.
Well, what I don't like is that he's literally like, he's got the horns and he's red and he's like if you just tell like a kid to draw the devil, that's what they're going to draw. Okay. Right. I don't like that.
You don't like the design choice.
No, I don't like the design choice at all. Okay. My feeling is like, if this had been like a Cthulhu monster, now we're fucking talking. Right. But like my problem is just the devil horns and it's just a little too like metal. Like I don't like that. Okay. I've never liked that. The rest of the episode rules. Okay. But like my problem is just that like it's all you kept talking about like cosmic horror, and that's what it is for all of it until the beast shows up. And then the beast shows up and then it's like, oh wait, so it's just the devil. And I, you know, conceptually everything about it works, right? The conversation that he has with the beast works. All of that works. My only issue is just the design of the creature. If the design of the creature wasn't the literal devil, I wouldn't have an issue with it at all. Because the rest of the episode rules, both of them. I love all the cosmic horror stuff. I love Toby. I love the ancient writing. That scene where Toby is like that girl like sees Toby like outside as he like slowly
waving at her.
Turns around and waves at her. I'm just like, oh my God, that's so creepy and great. I love all of that. I think that
where the voice is telling Toby, I'm getting closer, and also don't look at me.
Yeah. Oh my God. All of that stuff rules. Everything about this rules. I just don't think that the execution of the beast works at all for me. Both on a practical standpoint with the CGI being not great, doesn't hold up. But you know, 2006, nothing budget TV show. You know, it is what it is.
Could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse.
I kind of like the fact that it is like, I guess, quote unquote, literal Satan, because like, I like the idea of there being like this big, dumb alien thing that got locked away at the beginning of time that has like influenced all or like a lot of different mythologies in the universe. Like, I think that idea is really cool. Like there being like a I don't know, like a kernel of truth in all of these like various like myths.
Yeah, that there is this one entity, deity thing that is out there somewhere sleeping, and that image is what projected out into the universe and how we get dude with horns. And like, because he's kind of like talking to it as he's like I'm motioning climbing listeners, like when the Doctor's like rappelling into hell. And he's like, yeah, it is kind of weird how like every culture, and I've been around the block, how they all have like dude with horns. And like the inevitability of like, oh, it is just like a big demon with horns. And like, I'm just a sucker for, I mean, you go to a planet and you have pyramids or ancient etchings and cliff base, like I'm in. And like there is like the vases. There's something really like classical in the fact that it is just like dude with horns for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like religious iconography in my Doctor Who. It doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't. It's something about it in my. I'm glad that you guys like it so much.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm not saying that you're wrong. It just doesn't work for me at all.
Because I mean, like, the same basic premise is Pyramids of Mars, which we talked about like a few episodes ago. Like, the Doctor goes up against like an iteration of like Satan. Like, he name drops it. So like, but he looks like a dude in like an Egyptian mask, and like, you love that episode. So like,
yeah.
So would you have liked it better if it was like a creepy little girl or like any of the other?
No. I don't think so.
Egypt again?
I don't know. No. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I would have liked more. I didn't direct this episode. I don't know. I just didn't like. I don't like that it's Satan. I don't know. I don't.
Little Nas X on the Call Me by Your Name video.
Yeah.
That would have been better.
Yeah. It's just, this doesn't. I don't know. I don't know what it is about that, but it just doesn't.
I really appreciated. At the beginning, we saw like. For Endless Honeymoon, Rose and 10, like Devil May Care, aren't we so having fun? And I just love how that like comes back to bite them in the ass. Where like they don't hear the guy say like, yeah, we're blocking off this, and then they just lose the TARDIS. I don't know. That was like, I didn't really appreciate that like 10 years ago when I saw it.
Yeah, the mortgage conversation really stuck out to me, of that them like really setting up what is going to become a wedge between these two characters in terms of like her thoughts and wants and his thoughts and wants versus his responsibilities, or the responsibilities he feels he has.
Her expectations versus what he is actually capable of.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I really loved that.
It's a very human conversation between the two of them.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, this really cool, my cool, sexy rock and roll nerd boyfriend, he doesn't know what a mortgage is, or he doesn't. The thought of having a job is terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh, what if this isn't forever?
Right.
Because they have to be still for the first time.
Yeah.
They're not just like capricing about.
Right. I wanted a little like story structure thing that I liked a lot was the cold open of this is them showing up on this ship and space station.
That way, okay. Yeah, my one nitpick is I could have used a really good exterior shot of the planet they were on.
Yeah.
Because in my brain, I always read this as they're just on a space station.
Right.
Until the TARDIS collapses. I'm like, wait, why? How is it? Oh, they're on a planet. That's right. It's the what are they called? The bitter pill.
Yeah.
The mythology that like the gods spat the planet back out.
Right.
And that's what they're on. That didn't really land for me.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's partially, I think the Beast is partially to blame for that, because they spent a lot of their budget on that. So they couldn't do stuff like that. Unfortunately.
The big expensive digital creature.
Yeah, exactly. That had to move and snarl and laugh and stuff. But yeah, when they first get on to this base, and the Oods start coming out and coming toward them and saying, we must feed, or whatever, and they're just like surrounding them while saying we must feed, and then you go to the music, and then you come back and they like
he knocks on his little ball.
Yeah, he knocks on his little ball and was like, we must feed you. You know, because they're butlers. And then at the end of part one, the Ood are it's the same cliffhanger, only it's for real this time. They're actually coming after them, and I really liked that as like a fun like writing structure thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to shout out Ida, who is played by Claire Rushbrook. She's really good in this episode, but this might not mean anything to you, Cass, but Nick. She is Yolanda from the episode Art of Spaced.
Oh, wow.
She's the woman who interviews
Daisy.
Daisy, and is like using the lotion while she's talking.
Yeah.
And then
Oh
and
my
then
God.
Daisy does the girl power
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
That's great. You know what blows my world apart is that's only like a couple years apart,
Yeah.
but they feel like totally different eras.
That's like 8 years. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a fair amount of time.
99 to 2006.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, great ensemble. What was his name? Like Jackson Flamesword?
Yeah.
What was the captain?
It was something bananas like that. Yeah. It absolutely was.
I was convinced I had heard it wrong, and then the credits came up, and I'm like, nope, his name is Jackson Flamesword.
There it is. In black and white.
3 words.
Oh man. We get the introduction of everybody's favorite character, the orange spacesuit.
This was his debut.
This was its debut, yeah. And what a debut, really.
Yeah. He wears the crap out of it.
There's that great line where he first gets in it, and Rose is just like, "Now you need to bring that suit back in one piece." And I'm like, "Yeah, because we're going to use it so many times.
We're gonna get so much mileage out of this suit.
yeah."
That looks great. Can you wear that again?
I noticed that when he goes down into, like, when they get out of the little pod and they're looking around, like, the ruins or whatever of the old civilization, and she uses, like, the gravity globe, and I'm like, oh, we see that again in Matt Smith era, because he does the same thing
Wow,
in the
yeah.
Angel 2-parter,
Oh yeah.
which
Gosh,
I
I
thought
haven't
was
seen
really
that one.
cool.
That is really cool. Yeah. And like it's impossible to watch this episode, to go back in time and watch it the way when I first saw it, when the Ood were just like monsters.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But like it's very interesting to watch this episode in the knowing what we know about the Ood as like Whovians.
Mm-hmm.
There's such like a pathos to it of that moment where the doctor's like, I couldn't save the Ood. Like he's almost telling that to us and Rose
Mm-hmm.
more than, because like, yeah, and like there is kind of like an note, like of course we keep making the same mistake again. This episode is so much about how humans never change,
Mhm.
how like we keep going out into space and we keep finding new worlds, but we're still afraid of the devil. We still find the need to like subjugate these new like living things that we find and take away their will.
Mm-hmm.
And like the more things change, the more things stay the same.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. I guess like in the way that good horror kind of does make you feel uncomfortable sometimes, that it had some of that.
Yeah. I do think if this had been, not to say that it's poorly directed, but I do think that if it had been directed by Euros Lyn, I think that this would be one of the scariest episodes of Doctor Who.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Cause there are moments like even that Toby moment where he's outside and like turns and waves at her. It's really creepy, but it's also kind of overly lit.
Mm.
It's like very brightly lit and doesn't quite look as creepy as it could look if it had been, if a director had come in and been like, no, we need to like keep it so that he's like barely lit and you just kind of see him and it's just a shape until he turns around.
Almost the way that you see like something from your porch light from far away.
Totally. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, this might have the best like non-Moffat. We talked a little bit about like horror concepts.
Sure.
How he's really good about like, oh, that is such a, like, I remember as a kid watching this, the idea of this thing, the devil, being able to speak through people. But, like that was really creepy to me. Or like when the captain's looking away, but you see like the CG devil face, like, ah.
Yeah.
it's got that like YouTube jump scare.
Yeah. That's actually when I think the devil thing works the best. I think in retrospect, I think my biggest issue with the devil design is just that it's red. If it wasn't red, if it wasn't like literally like, devils, they're red. Like if it wasn't red, it wouldn't bother me as much as it does because it's like literalized in such a way that it feels silly to me.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah. Whereas if it was just like black or like when he was showing up on those video things, he was
green.
like, it was like green, right? It was because it was just like,
Yeah, it was
the
like
color
a green
of the
blue-ish
yeah,
color.
that green blue like video color.
Yeah.
So like if it wasn't red with like the brown horns, like if it was just like black or something else, I think it wouldn't bother me as much because I would get more alien than I do like literal demon.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
The part that really lights my imagination on fire is the cave paintings the Doctor finds. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, there was a great battle and they were able to subdue it. I'm like, how the hell did they do that? A lot of good men died that day, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
love
man.
all the lore, like the world
Mhm.
building in this, like calling the planet like the bitter pill, and like just all of this other stuff, and like just thinking about like a civilization that like fought off this giant thing. Like it's so cool to me. I don't know.
Yeah, and like the idea because the devil says that it's like I was in prison before time, and that challenges the Doctor's beliefs, which that whole subplot I thought was fascinating.
Mhm.
Because it seems like it's just going to be an innocuous episode, but then it like explores like the Doctor, like, wait, what does this person believe in?
Mm-hmm.
And like when he's like, I believe in the universe, like I believe that like what you're saying offends my beliefs, and it's just like this uncomfortable spot that I've never seen this character be in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think David Tennant really played. I was thinking during that confrontation, the special effect in that scene is David Tennant thinking.
Yes. Yeah, David Tennant is great in this.
Mhm.
I was thinking the whole time how other Doctors would be in this story.
Mhm.
And I came to the conclusion that 11 would be the most annoying Doctor in this situation. It would be awful. 12 versus 10 would basically be like samesies.
12
I feel.
versus the devil.
Yeah, 12 versus the devil. Like I feel like they would both bring different things, but ultimately it would be kind of like an equal performance, I think. I think 9 would be really interesting in this story. I think for some reason Eccleston versus the devil feels definitely in his wheelhouse as an actor. It's the kinds of stuff that he likes to dig into.
Mhm.
But then I was also thinking 13 would be really interesting in a situation like this. Maybe not written by Chris Chibnall,
God,
but
no.
like her, that Doctor in this situation, this exact episode,
Mhm.
I think would be really interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, dude, the idea of like Yaz, Graham, and Ryan like palling around with this cast is like sending me.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, we need to get does 13 wear the spacesuit yet? That's got to happen.
has
I
she?
don't know.
I can imagine it. I can picture it.
Yeah, I can picture it too, but I don't know if I can just picture it because I can or because it happened.
So I think it's interesting, especially in this like season, this go around of Long Way Around, we've had like 3 different confrontations with like gods or like god-like powers or
Mhm.
whatever.
Deities.
So like does 13 ever go up against something like this?
The only thing I
I
that
can't
comes to
remember.
mind immediately, and I don't remember the circumstances or details, but wasn't the frog kind of like a bigger than like a deity kind of thing?
Yeah,
Well, she went up against those celestial dudes.
that's true.
Yeah. So nothing great. I don't know. Nothing that felt certainly even like with him being just a big CG monster. I think
Yeah.
you kind of get he's talking to something that's like older than anything he's ever
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
come up against.
I really like that.
And I didn't really get that from the cosmic beings that she fought.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I remember digging that episode a little bit.
Yeah. You and Cass like that episode a lot.
I have no memory of It Takes You Away. That's another one that I was staring at for a little bit.
That's the one with the frog.
That's the frog one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They start off in that like Scandinavian house
That's
with
right.
the girl, and then it just goes into Bananasville.
Yeah. And then she says that she's going to be best friends with the frog, and she saves the universe. Rose tries to almost start spew.
Yeah. That was good. There's a moment in this, I think it's just once. The acting captain says that they are working for the Torchwood archive,
Mhm.
which is, part of, I mean, it's part of, Russell T Davies, like, I'm going to make a word be like the arc for the season. And, we had like Bad Wolf last season. We've got Torchwood this season. And then we have Saxon next season.
Mhm.
But with Torchwood, it's interesting because we have a Torchwood that ends up at the end of this season, which is the Torchwood that is involved in the Cybermen versus Dalek invasion thing.
Whoever wins, we lose.
Right. But then that Torchwood ends in that episode, which is set in modern day, and then the Captain Jack Torchwood happens, which is only tangentially related to the other Torchwood.
Yeah.
And is totally different. And so with that in mind, then them working for the Torchwood archive is really confusing, because it's like, which Torchwood? the Captain Jack Torchwood? They have an archive? And they're like sending people out into space? I don't know. I just thought that's
funny.
a weird, continuity hanging, Chad.
Yeah. I'm listening to that, and it's interesting, and I think kind of says a lot that the second, with respect to RTD, the second that Moffat had the keys back or given to him, he just switched right back to who did the Brigadier work for?
Unit.
Unit.
Yeah.
Because like it's like, what do you do with that? What is this?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Post,
Yeah.
Whereas Unit, it's like, okay, cool.
It's honestly crazy that Unit never showed up in Torchwood.
Yeah. That is weird.
Right? That's super weird, right? You would think the overlap there would be almost a circle.
Because there is a Unit story in Russell T.
Yes.
Is it the Sontaran one?
Yeah, the Sontaran
Yeah,
one.
when Martha comes back. But that's weird that they never show up in Torchwood.
My nerd brain, just in my mind, it was Unit was like fallen, or Unit didn't exist in the time that Torchwood was filling a gap.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kind of traded.
Right. Yeah, that's possible. I don't remember if they ever explained that.
Well, in
one way or the other.
continuity, isn't Torchwood founded in the 1800s? When does Unit
Tooth and Claw.
get found?
Right.
The Queen founds it.
Yeah.
Torchwood's been around longer.
Yeah.
God, the continuity of Torchwood is the weirdest thing.
It's so weird. It makes
It
no
doesn't
sense.
make any sense. Oh boy.
Bring it back.
I wonder if like Russell T Davies has like a timeline somewhere that makes total sense, and it's just he's just never like,
it's all there.
yeah, look, that's how it works.
Oh.
It's like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
look at that. It really does.
He just has a PowerPoint presentation prepared.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd be here for it.
ready
They
to
should
go
do it.
whenever.
Absolutely.
I am I'm surprised, and maybe they have and I just don't know about it, but this story feels like it's just begging for a sequel or prequel from Big Finish.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
This feels like right in line with their kind of vibes.
I can hear like the dripping pipes.
Yeah. For sure. And the beast's like voice.
Mm-hmm. The crackling hellfire sounds.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. God, what if you did a prequel where the Doctor was there when that group imprisoned?
Oh, that's how they were able to do it.
Yeah.
Great.
Anyway,
It's like that scene from Justice League.
Big Finish. Call us up.
He teams up with Zeus and Poseidon and Ares and a Green Lantern.
Yeah. Oh boy.
That could work too, because because he's so stuck on the idea of like before time. So like, what if something happens like when he's mid time vortex, and then he just gets like popped out here,
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I could have done with, on the topic of like a prequel or a sequel, really exploring what the devil meant when he said like, I'm from before time and there was still civilization.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so little about the way the universe works.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what they should have done instead of a big CGI beast
Mhm.
is they should have done like Lord of the Rings style, like size differentiation, technology, and just had somebody in like makeup
Mm.
as the beast.
I remember I definitely thought that, not because I was like, what would we have lost with a gorgeous makeup creature?
right.
Like we know that they can do, like
Right.
like Spider Lady from the Christmas episode,
Or the Ood in this episode.
the Ood in this
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, like why? Yeah, like what do we? Is it because he doesn't have any lines? Is it because he doesn't talk? But yeah, like what would we? Yeah,
I don't know.
I definitely remember thinking that too.
I wonder if there will ever be a time where the BBC will do special editions of these older seasons of Doctor Who and redo the special effects the way that they did with some classic Who episodes and the way they did with Star Trek.
Yeah.
That's spooky to think about.
Is it?
The idea of
because it's in your lifetime.
yeah, the idea of someone being like, God, we have to change. This looks like dog shit.
Yeah, I mean, it already kind of does.
Yeah,
a lot of
it hasn't
really.
aged well.
Yeah. That would be really interesting. I would be up for it, honestly. I'd pay money for those box sets.
If he looked like Tim Curry in Legend, would you have been down with it?
I think so, honestly. I think I would have been more into it. Maybe it really is just the CGI of it. It just looks so
Does it read like
fake.
video game boss to you?
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's the thing that I'm having such an issue with. Is like I can't connect to it in any way because it's not a thing. It's not It's not
a character.
No, it looks like a PS2 like boss. It looks like a PS1 cutscene. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
You know? It's just
that
rough.
reminds me of people. I remember reading this essay. I can't remember who, but it was like that's why people responded so much to. I don't want to. I feel weird spoiling it for some reason, but the villain of WandaVision isn't a CG motion capture creature.
Right.
It's a person,
Mhm.
and like it's like everyone's favorite character in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And like that matters sometimes when it's like there's like a character to it.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, okay.
Little girl.
Related, but not related. If it had been something like now I forget his name, but
Satan.
the demon thing in Doctor Strange, Dormammu. If it had been like that kind of design, that could have been cool too. For this,
Just shapes.
yeah.
There's something kind of the human mind can't wrap around.
Yeah, right. Totally. I think that could have been interesting too, because I just don't know. That's the other thing too. Is like when it's a thing that I can look at and recognize, I'm just like, well, this isn't that special. It's just. I think that's the other part of it too. It's just like my brain is just like it's like they're talking it up this whole time, and then you finally see it, and you're like, that's it. That's all. That's the best you got. All right. I don't know. I like the idea of it being more unknowing than what it ultimately is, I guess, or unknowable, I guess. I
think it's always been kind of the whatever about the Kobayashi Maru of adapting like Lovecraft is the power. I haven't read a lot of them, but like the power of his prose apparently is like really powerful. That was a shitty sentence, but like describing Cthulhu is different than like, oh yeah, he's a squid dude.
Right. Yeah. Sure. Well, I mean, I think the Ood ended up being low key
Lovecraftian?
Lovecraft kind of ode.
Mm-hmm.
The Ood were an ode to Lovecraft in this like sort of cosmic horror story.
What did you guys think of those Ood puns throughout the episode?
It was rough.
That was the most Russell T Davies shit, and it's the worst. It's also great because I love him to pieces,
Sure.
but like, my God, man, come on. Sometimes you got to accept when a thing's not working. I don't know. But I love the Ood. One funny thing about the Ood, when Russell T Davies decided to create these characters for this story, he wanted to give them a simple name because he felt like he had run the joke into the ground of like the really long name aliens, or the aliens from a really long name planet or whatever.
Like the one from Idiot, or what's the one with the Slovene?
Yeah. Well, I can't say it.
Raxachlorophalapatorius.
Yay!
That's amazing. I don't know how you just pulled that one out, but good.
I don't know.
Good work. I'm impressed.
It just lives in my brain.
But yeah, so he was like, yeah, I mean, it's not like any of my characters have ever been like, none of them are iconic. So I'm just gonna throw this one out here, and we'll call out the Ood. We'll make it simple, and then it's the first iconic character out of his era as showrunner. It's like the first iconic alien because he made it simple, easy to grasp.
It's so cool. It's a lot like how, I don't know, it's like how the first time Wolverine was in a comic, he was a bad guy.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, who knew what kind of journey we'd go on with these creatures?
Right. First, they were Satan's puppets, and then later they would see the doctor off as he died.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
There were some shots where you got to see Rose's full costume in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
She had a really cool like country western belt.
Oh yeah. Her style is always so interesting. I would like just once to see a companion come to the suitcase, or come to the TARDIS with a suitcase of clothes.
Oh,
You know?
that's not what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, I like just to have like to be like, yeah, these are all my outfits for our adventures. Instead, they just like show up and then they just have all of these change of clothes, and it's like, where did all these clothes come from? I don't know. What were you going to say? What did you think I was going to say?
I'm really into the idea of a companion being like, oh no, I like fell in goop or something. I have to change. Oh, the doctor's like, oh, I have a wardrobe in there. And it's just all of the clothes that their companions have left over the years.
Yeah.
And they come out wearing like an '06 Rose Tyler outfit.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be cool. I would really like that a lot. Like, yeah, they always come with the clothes and then they leave and they don't take the clothes with them. So I have a lot of clothes. Most of them aren't dead.
I would be so creeped out. It's just like, oh yeah, there's a wardrobe. And then it's just like a bunch of women's clothing. And you're just like, how did you get all
Oh, that's true. It would be majority women.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like you have like friends where it's like, oh yeah, I guess that is like their jacket. They left their jacket here and it's just been in my closet for 2 years.
Mhm.
You don't have that?
I guess not.
Okay.
Oh, man.
I have a lot of stuff that is in mine, listeners.
That's fair.
I'm a forager. Is that the word?
Yeah. Or if it is yours, it used to not be yours.
Yes, I'm given things like a character in a fantasy novel.
It's dangerous out there. Take this.
Take this desk.
All right. Is that all we got? Cosmic Horror, Doctor Who. I'm a big
so.
fan. I like it.
Good.
I hope there's more of this.
Yeah, like this is what I want. This is kind of what I want out of every Chris Chibnall episode. Or so many times I've kind of vocalized like there's just a thing that's missing, and I think it's this, which is just like I care about the things that are happening and the people.
Mhm.
It's not reinventing the wheel. There's like a bunch of episodes that have this formula,
Mhm.
but this one's really entertaining.
Yeah. It's very, very good. Absolutely.
I'm glad that you
Final
don't
thoughts,
like
Cass?
hate it anymore. I was like
No,
really
I
I
don't.
was like really interested.
I think I've just focused in on the thing that I hate, which is that stupid CGI beast character.
The box of Diablo 2.
Yeah, right. Yes, that's
You don't like the
That's what
big
it is.
spicy boy.
no, I don't like the spicy boy. Like he looks like a Doom character.
He did
Yeah,
like
he
a little
does.
forked
Just-
tongue.
Yeah, just man, I'm not into it. I don't know. I can't get over it. It's a hang up.
That's fair.
But the rest of the episode rules.
Mhm.
I really, really like it a
I
lot.
think the rest of the episode like makes up for the fact that the CGI looks like garbage.
Yeah. Oh boy.
man. Yeah. What's the 11 episode?
Vincent and the Doctor, my friend.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Didn't
Yeah.
it like why was it trending on Twitter the other day?
I don't know.
Yeah, what was going on?
It was
Did you
just
notice that, Cass?
Mm-mm.
that episode. I think trends more than any other episode of Doctor Who. Occasionally, like somebody will just post that clip of them going to the museum,
That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was like
and then people will just quote tweet and be like, "Amazing! I cry every time."
Oh, speaking of Vincent and the Doctor, I kept
Yeah.
thinking Jefferson looked like Bill Nye.
Yes, me too.
Oh.
Great.
I was like, oh my god, is that Bill Nighy? And then he opened his mouth, and I was like, oh, never mind.
Oh man.
You're not Bill Nighy. You're just a punk that looks like him. Space Jam.
Well, next week, Vincent and the Doctor. We're almost done with this season, guys.
I don't rewatch Vincent and the Doctor very often, so there's a good chance I haven't watched it in like 10 years.
Oh wow. It's
Wow.
been a couple of years since I've seen it. I'm gonna cry, but you know,
Yeah.
we all are. So
Yeah, for sure.
This is kind of, I don't know, just for the sake of, we happen to be recording this apparently on the 11th anniversary of the 11th hour.
Mm-hmm.
God,
Yep. Which means, I mean, we just celebrated our 11th anniversary back in December. So yeah, this was like this is the anniversary of the reason that the show was started, which was, wanting to do a Doctor Who podcast, as, the 11th Doctor era began.
Yeah.
So
I remember that spring.
yeah. Oh, it's like burned into my memory.
Yeah, I remember watching it.
My whole life revolved around series 5 of Doctor Who. Like, I stopped everything to watch it immediately. Yeah, it was a crazy time. Crazy time
television.
to be a Doctor Who. Yeah, crazy time to be a Doctor Who fan for sure.
Anyway,
yeah, we're gonna talk about an episode of series 5 next week
Can't
with
wait.
Vincent the Doctor. We'll talk to you guys then. Check out our Patreon, duelinggenre.com/support. Become a Patreon member. We're reaching the end of a lot of eras, and we're not guaranteeing any continuation of those eras. So if you want us to do things like cover the 9th Doctor Big Finish stuff, or cover Torchwood, if that's something you're into, or what have you, as an addition to future Long Way Around seasons, let us know by becoming a Patreon supporter.
because eventually we will just be talking about 4.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
4 and 10. They're very close in the number of stories they have.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it just seems like 4 has more because of how many parts
That's true.
his stories are. But I think they're very close. I think 4 edges him out by like 2 stories or something like that. But yeah.
That's crazy.
So yeah, become a Patreon supporter, and when we get 100 patrons, which we're only like 20 something away from, under 25, I think like 23 away.
that's
The
awesome.
council keeps growing.
Yeah. So become a Patreon supporter. When we get to 100, we're going to do like a Patreon vote for a bonus show, and a Doctor's Companion bonus show will be a part of that vote. So let your voices be heard and become a Patreon supporter. We appreciate everyone who does that or is already doing that. Once again, that's duelinggenre.com/support. We'll talk to you guys next week with Vincent and the Doctor. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Beast is awakened.